In South Carolina, a tragic and unusual drowning is serving as a warning for parents everywhere. NBC's Savannah Guthrie has more. She's at a pool in Bethesda, Maryland. Savannah, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Meredith. A lot of parents are going to be taking their kids to pools like this one this summer, and they know to keep their eyes on the kids while they're in the swimming pool. But in South Carolina this week, a terrible accident. A little boy drowned more than an hour after getting out of the pool. This is where 10-year-old Johnny Jackson had his first and last swim. The South Carolina fourth grader drowned Sunday after officials say he swallowed too much pool water. But there was no immediate sign that anything was wrong.
We physically walked home. He walked with me. I bathed him, and he told me that he was sleepy.
Cassandra Jackson thought that wasn't unusual after an hour playing in the pool until she checked on her son later.
I went into the room, walked over to the bed, and his face was literally covered with this spongy white material. And I screamed.
And I pulled his arm to say, Johnny, Johnny. There was no response, and I opened one of his eyelids, and I just knew inside my heart that it was something really bad.
Johnny was rushed to the local hospital, but it was too late. And the coroner's cause of death was just one more shock: asphyxiation by drowning.
I've never known a child could walk around, talk, speak, and their lungs be filled with water.
Paramedics say a delayed or dry drowning like this is rare, but not unheard of.
It's very unusual. I think the instances are only about 10 or 15% of the drownings or near drownings nationwide end up that way.
Now, a mother left only with pictures and memories of the little boy she loves so much.
He was a very loving, full of life. That was my little man.
So were there any signs? In retrospect, two things. The little boy had an accident, soiled himself while he was in the pool, and then he was very lethargic, very sleepy. At the time, the mother thought nothing of it. In retrospect, it may be significant. By the way, if you want to learn how you can help the Jackson family, go to our website, todayshow.com. Meredith, back to you.
Savannah Guthrie, thank you very much. Dr. Daniel Rauch is a pediatrician at New York University's Langone Medical Center, and he has treated cases of dry drowning in children. Dr. Rauch, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I had never heard of this before. I have 3 children and had never heard of it. What happens? How does this occur? I mean, a child goes in the water, they swallow some, is that what happens, or spit it up, and then later it affects the lungs?
It's unclear why this happens to the small percentage of people who suffer from this, but what we think goes on is the water, and it can be salt water or fresh water, damages the lining of the lungs, and it makes it difficult for the lungs to do their essential function, which is to get oxygen into the blood and carbon dioxide out of the blood.
How much water would it take?
Apparently it doesn't take very much. For some reason, some kids in certain instances are susceptible to this.
So it could even happen if a child were in the bathtub?
Yes.
As well, just as easily. If the kid chokes on water, experiences this, they may not exhibit symptoms for quite a while. But there are some warning signs that you say parents should look out for. First is difficulty breathing.
Primarily, this is a problem with the lungs. It can take a while for the process to occur and to set in and cause difficulty. So because it is a lung process, difficulty breathing is the first sign that you would be worried about.
Okay, and the next one is what happened to this little boy, extreme tiredness. He needed to take a nap. I might not notice that if I were a parent, because if a kid, for example, has been to the pool in the sun, they might be tired.
Absolutely. It's very difficult to tell when your child's abnormally tired versus normal tired after a hot day and running around in the pool. The job of the lungs is to get oxygen into the blood, and your brain needs oxygen to keep working. So when your brain isn't getting oxygen, it can start doing funny things. One of them is becoming excessively tired, losing consciousness, and the inability to be aroused appropriately. We've all had the difficulty trying to arouse a toddler or a young child from a nap, but we know them well, so we know what their appropriate response is, and when you're not getting that, that's when you should be worried.
Okay, and the other one is to look for changes in behavior as a warning sign. Like what?
Another response of the brain to not getting oxygen is to do different things. So if your child's abnormally cranky, if they're abnormally combative, if they're really any dramatic change from their normal pattern. Now, again, if you have a toddler, that seems like every hour is a dramatic
Right.
change in their normal pattern. So it is very difficult to pick this up sometimes.
So, but if you know your child has been exposed to water, it might trigger something that says maybe this is the situation. Go immediately to emergency room?
Absolutely. This is a very potentially dangerous process. Unfortunately for this child, it was fatal, and it needs to be treated by people who can deal with children and secure their airway. And
how is it treated, doctor?
So they're intubated. A breathing tube is put in. Pressure is put into their lungs. It helps the fluid clear the lungs, and it helps them get the oxygen into their blood and the carbon dioxide out. And then we just wait for the lung to heal itself.
So, and if you're not with your child when they've been at the beach or the pool, ask them when they come home if they've had any experience with choking on the water or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Rauch, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.